There's something about this time of year that always catches me off guard. I mean, you go from double checking the forecast and watching frost maps to waking up one day and realizing that the ground is soft enough to dig. Spring doesn't make a grand entrance here on the farm. There's no big parade, no sudden transformation, just a quiet build. It's the little things you start to notice. A few degrees warmer, a little more light each morning, until suddenly, everything is different. This is the part of flower farming that no one talks a lot about. The part before the beauty, before the rows of blooms and cheerful you-pick photos, before this season feels like something worth sharing. It's the stretch of the season when the work almost feels invisible. When you're knee-deep in planning, prepping, and trusting. And honestly, it might just be my favorite time of year. Right now, our days are full of prep. And not the kind of work that looks flashy, not the kind that feels instantly productive, but the kind that makes everything else possible. We're waking the farm up little by little. Uncovering overwintered beds, checking irrigation lines, amending soil, and watching our trays of hardy annuals stretch toward the light in our grow room. We're also repairing tools and doing inventory on the supplies that always seem to vanish in the off-season. And this week, I finally washed the seed trays that had been stacked in my garage since last October. We also sorted our dahlia tubers and mapped out summer annual successions. Our supplies are ordered, lists are everywhere. And if that wasn't enough, we're also checking the daffodils on a more regular basis. After all, they're green shoots. They always feel like the first honest sign that spring is really on its way here in West Michigan. We're also transplanting pansies and other cold hardy flower varieties outside. And indoors, well, the first trays of warm season annuals, things like zinnias, celosia, cosmos, they've been seeded, giving them a head start while we wait for the outside world to catch up. This is the work that no one really sees. It's not glamorous, but it matters. Because this is a stretch of the season where most of our summer success is quietly made. And even though it's tiring, it's also deeply hopeful. Each seed tucked into soil is a promise, each small action a gesture of trust. After months of planning, to me, it finally feels like we're moving forward. But the thing about this stretch of the season, from the outside, it still looks like nothing is happening. I mean, the fields are mostly bare, the ground is still cold, and the most common question we hear from our customers is, so when will the flowers be ready? And I get it. From the outside, it just looks like a lot of dirt. But that's the funny thing about early spring. It asks you to believe before you see. And nowhere is that lesson more visible than in our tulip crates. You see, all winter long, our crates, they've been tucked into the makeshift cooling space that we have in our garage. They're chilling in the dark. No light, no warmth, no signs of life. Just row after row of what looks like nothing at all. But we know better. Because once those tulips have had enough cold, once they've gone through their necessary season of waiting, they begin to emerge. First their roots, then their shoots, then in what feels like a blink, blooms. Color, joy, life, seemingly all at once. But was it really? The truth is, the real work, the part we too often forget, that happened long before the flowers appeared. Those tulips were planted months ago, deep into the soil while the days were still short and cold. They've weathered cold temps, frost, and weeks of darkness. They did their growing unseen and uncelebrated. There's a moment each season, right around now, when I glance at our tulips that are neatly planted in their crates, neatly stacked beside one another, forming a beautiful sea of green. Row after row of tulip shoots standing tall and ready. And still, no color. They've been growing steadily for months by now, and by all appearances, they're ready to bloom. But they haven't. Not yet. And every year that pause between almost and arrival, it catches me. Those tulips, they remind me. Growth doesn't always move at the pace that we expect, and beauty can take its time. What's happening is still happening. The delay isn't failure, it's a sign that things are still unfolding. It's something that I'm still learning to trust, that even when the moment doesn't arrive on my timeline, the effort, it hasn't been wasted. And maybe that's why I love this season so much, because it mirrors what so many of us are going through. We're preparing, we're growing, we're showing up, waiting for the moment when it all finally opens. And even when we can't see the results, still we plant, still we trust. Each season, this work of growing flowers, it teaches me things that I didn't even know I needed to relearn. Things like that growth is slow, that transformation is often invisible, that consistency matters more than intensity, that quiet seasons are not wasted seasons, that the work you do when no one is watching, it still counts. And maybe most of all, that beauty doesn't rush. It emerges when it's ready. Here on the farm, we have our own ways of welcoming this season. We're planting out the ranunculus, unstacking crates of tulip bulbs, and mapping out the rows. We're warming our hands on coffee mugs before pulling on cold gloves, and we're noticing which perennials are beginning to stir from the soil. It's not always picturesque, but it's sacred in its own quiet way. And if you're in a season of slow beginnings, if the vision feels big but your steps feel small, well, I hope you'll give yourself permission to begin gently. You don't need a perfect plan to participate in spring. Sometimes the simple act of noticing is enough. I've realized over the years that spring doesn't ask us to have it all figured out. It simply invites us to begin, to pay attention, to prepare the soil, to show up even when the results aren't immediate. So if you're in a season of planting, with your hands, with your heart, or with your hopes, I hope you'll trust what's taking root. You might not see it yet, but that doesn't mean it's not working. Give it time, give it care, and know that whatever feels small today may be the very thing that blooms into something beautiful tomorrow. Now, spring is a perfect time to take action because you never know where one small step might lead you. As I've shared in this video, spring is all about setting ourselves up for summer success. And a large part of that is starting our warm season tender annuals. It's a quiet task, but one that carries so much promise. If you're looking to get started with some seed starting of your own, I created this video that walks you through our budget-friendly seed starting setup, the same one that we've used and adapted over the years. It's simple, scalable, and designed to grow with you. I'll link it in the end card here in a moment. I hope you'll check it out because I can't wait to see you there. Bye, guys.